In a world with flat screen TVs, instant access to anything your little green heart desires, and scary creatures in your walls, it can be hard for one to fall asleep. But fear not, man's deepest question has finally been answered. What happens if a queer POC with autism started a podcast where he talks you to sleep with his delusional rants while you sit there with your fat gut out? You get
Bedtime with Major's Bedtime with... Welcome back to another episode of Bedtime with Major. I'm back. I'm back in action. The fourth episode, I think. I'm covered up in my blankie. I'm ready for a good night with you guys. I'm ready for another good night rest. I'm ready for another. I'm ready to talk you to sleep again. To talk you to sleep again is my biggest goal of this podcast. One of the biggest goals of this podcast was always to talk you to sleep. Was always to give you a good night's rest. And I don't know how to start this podcast, to be honest. How to start this podcast episode, I should say. I do have some things lined up. We're gonna have a feel good news segment. I don't know how long it's gonna be. Because I haven't planned that thoroughly. I've planned it, but it's not that thorough. We're gonna have that depending on what we have for the Q&A, or the statements, I should say. Depending on that, of course, as soon as I start the podcast, my cat wants to come out. But anyways, depending on that, we're going to have that too coming up shortly. So, get ready for that. Get ready for 30 minutes in the podcast. Maybe we'll do it, whatever. But yeah, so... Oh, my fucking God. Okay, let me let my cat out. Okay, we're back. And we're back. We're back with the podcast. Okay. So, like I was saying... Yeah, we're going to have some segments. We're going to have some moments, some goofs, some gaffes this episode, hopefully. Speaking of being goofy, I've been being goofy at work. I've been being very goofy at work. And as you all know, I am a radio tower climber. I climb the radio towers. I put the new light bulbs in there. But recently, I've been having panic attacks. 2-hour long. On Monday, I had a 2-hour long one. I had a 2-hour long panic attack in my chair, and it's crazy because the outside, the outer. This is, by the way, this is serious. I'm not being jokey right now. The outer part of me it always stays calm, but the inner part of me, physically at least, is on fire. It's insane. It's insane what your brain can trick you into thinking. My brain tricks me into thinking I'm talented. That's how powerful it is. That's how powerful they can get. Is that they trick you into thinking that you're something that you're not, or that your reality is something that it's not. It's not just me. I'm not delusional. Everybody thinks like this. I swear. But yeah. So that's how the start of my week happened. It's going by pretty fast. The sun's out longer. Daylight savings. Move your clocks forward. Give you the illusion that there's more sunlight, even though we have like the 3 minutes more sunlight every day. At most, to be honest. I can't wait for spring. I can run around outside. I can jog. I can run around in white neighborhoods and scare everybody and make them think that I'm gonna steal their stuff, which I will. Just kidding. I won't steal your things. I won't steal your things. At all. I'm not a thief. Come on. Racially profiling me, and for what? But anyways. Yeah. another goofy thing I've been doing at work is I've been I've been thinking about very stupid things that aren't funny outside of work, but at work I think they're funny. You know, I was thinking of the word doo doo, and I was like holding in a laugh. Really, I was climbing the tower. I was thinking of the word doo doo, synonym for poop. I was thinking of that, and I almost like died of laughter. I had to hold it in very, very hard. You know, I looked like I was like gonna cough or sneeze or something. That's how bad I was. I was turning red in the face and everything. It was horrible. But yeah, I'm not even tired. I just don't know how to start this because I have things in my head for this podcast episode. I just don't know how to start this, and honestly, I'm feeling a little weirded out right now. I feel like this podcast is so boring. I was listening to other episodes and I feel like they're boring, but they're not boring, are they? Are they boring? I have no idea. Actually, let's get into, because I do have some comments. I do have some things to answer. And let's just get into that early so that we can actually start get the ball rolling, as they would say. Get the ball rolling, get the stats up. Get the momentum going, as they would say. The momentous momentum, as they would tell you. So yeah, but I'm trying to pull it up on my phone real quick here. Pull it up, Jamie. Yeah. So here's one by, of course, anonymous. I'm not gonna expose this person because that would be kind of mean of me. So they said, and here's what they said here. Congrats on your podcast. I hope you make it out, man. Your content is great. Hope I make it out of what? Make it out of what? My house? I don't know where they think I live. Do they think I live in like Syria? Do they think I live in Do they think I live in like South Africa, like a South African slum? Where do they think I live? Where they're hoping for me to make it out? I don't understand where they think I live. Hope you make it out, man? What is that supposed to mean? I'm not in the hood. I'm in a nice place. I can't complain. I'm privileged, you know? Got a nice life. A nice upbringing, as they would say. Make it out of what? That's the thing. I've noticed that people assume that like you're coming from like this, like the gutter whenever you're trying to do something. Because everybody always tries to make that the story. They always try to make like a rags. That is the best thing that American celebrities do. Is they try to make their whole story about rags to riches when literally 99% of the celebrities in Hollywood, in not even in Hollywood, in like the entirety of the country, have parents that are in the industry already, or like a relative that's already in the industry. 99.9% of the time they do. Industry plants are the industry. That's what people don't understand. Industry plants are the industry. The industry works off of nepotism and furthermore, a monarchy-like structure where it's just like these families of famous people that act like they're not related, but they are. It's insane. It's insane. You know, I think that's why when somebody actually does make it out the mud, in the parliaments of the streets, they would say out of the mud, out of the gutter, out of the slums, out of the trenches even. If you're from Atlanta, you'd say, we made it out of the trenches. And people who make it out of the trenches, I think that's why it's actually so, they get so popular, because it's true. Because you really don't see, you don't see people coming out of the trenches like you'd think they would be. You see what I'm saying? My hair is getting too big, by the way. I have to cut this. I have to cut this hair very soon. It's getting too large. It's getting too uncontrollable. It's messy as of now. As of the current, in its current state, it's very messy. I don't know why. As soon as I start this podcast, I just start to get drowsy, man. My eyes are getting heavy. I'm getting so tired. Speaking of being tired, I've realized. Well, speaking of the trenches, and speaking of making it out in the mud, and and being tired, I've noticed that there was this trend for a while where people would try and act like high, but in reality they're tired. They come off as tired, and and it made me think of even more. It made me think of doing lean, how that was a popular thing, and it made me think of going off of lean. It made me think of young lean, and then it made me think of Swedish people, and that whole circle of just it just made me think of how insane people that speak different languages sound to us. Like 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 you go to like Sweden, right? Staying on Sweden, people are just talking like like that's how they sound. They sound like the Swedish chef from the Muppets. They just that's how they sound, like the Swedish chef. And it made me realize why like immigrants or not people who just come from different countries that come over here, or any English speaking country, and like if they don't know the language, right, and they'll just sit there and look at you with like the biggest smile ever. It's because like I get it now. I get why they do that. Because if I was over in like Mexico or something, and some guy came up to me speaking like fluent, fast Spanish, just like yeah, blah, 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 I'd just be sitting there with a big smile on my face. Because I'm just like, what are you? I just don't know what you're saying, man. You're saying all this stuff, and I don't know what you're saying. All you can go off of is tone. But even then, like tone is different between different languages. So like. And I was thinking, like, we must sound like Sims to the whole world. We're just like, people are Dasto. Oh, does she know? Oh, boy. Like, we're just. and it made me think even more. That thought branched off into Americans being like, we're like the closest to Sims that we've. That humans can get, like that a real human race can get to. We're like the closest to Sims, because we're so incompetent. We need like we literally need like a giant hand just guiding us through life, through our everyday life. Not even like complex life, like what is my plans for my future. Like I need to go and get up and walk to the fridge. It's that, like that type of life. Is what like Americans need, because we're just so incompetent. We need like all these workers. We need like little like low level, down low workers to work for us, to do things for us. Half of us wouldn't survive without DoorDash. You understand that? Half of us would not survive without that. We would have a car, we would have money, and we still would not survive without DoorDash. Like that's what I'm talking about. That level of incompetence where you can't, you have the resources, you just don't want to use them because it's too much work. You just pay your way through life, paying other people to do things for you. But rewinding back onto the subject of language, it also made me think of how language, like, do you think language, like speaking a certain language and thinking in a language, do you think depending on the complexity of that language or how it's viewed from other people, do you think that affects like the mind of somebody? Do you think like somebody who speaks Italian, do you think they're like pretentious? You know? Because in our minds, in our American minds, like for us to be like, oh, I need to start my car. It's that. Like in our head, it's like, I need to get up, open the door, and turn the key and start the car. But in Italian, it's like, yeah, but bro, what's spaghetti? Yeah, but spaghetti. Like that. That's how it is in their brain, just to say, I need to start the car. That's how it is in Italian. You know? And it made me also think, do you think like does that actually like does that genuinely affect like the way you are? Like French, for example, even French, same sentence. I need to go to my car and start it, it's like, je trouve la toi. Je sais pas la money. Oh, oui, 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 oui. Je bois la ciment. You know what I mean? Like that. It's just like, it's just like, you know, that's how they sound. Like, imagine if this is an entire podcast. Imagine that. It's just me making fun of languages. Imagine that's the entire podcast. Anyways, yeah. So it just made me think, like, thinking in that language all the time for 24 hours a day, that has to give you, like, a sense of, like, importance. Because, like, even in a stereotypically, at least to us, stereotypically, French people are, like, for, like, people from that, like, that speak those, like, Romance languages, like Spanish, French, Italian, they're, like, stereotypically, we always think of them as being, like, super pretentious, super above, like, they think they're, like, above people. And European, like, Western Europeans as a whole think they're better than everybody else, right? That's what we think. Is there some truth to that? Do you think there's, like, some truth to that? And you know, this is so interesting now. I think we should look this up, honestly. Now, because it's got me thinking. What should the phrase be? Does language affect the way we think? Does language affect the way we think? Numerous studies have... Oh, here's the Google, by the way. Here's the first result. Numerous studies have shown that a new language can change how the human mind pulls information together, hence enabling bilinguals and even multilinguals to have more than one perspective on a particular issue. Here we go. Does language is essential to our experience of being human, and languages we speak profoundly shape the way we think, the way we see the world, the way we live. Okay. So there's no straight answer for this. Possibly because they don't want to upset the Europeans. Possibly not. I mean, what? We shouldn't even rag on Europeans. We shouldn't even rag on Europeans at all. White men aren't the problem. Straight white men aren't the problem. Okay? Even though they created genocide, they're responsible for racism, responsible for most of the imperialism and colonization of the earth, to both world wars. They prolonged the Vietnam War. They instigated inside of the Vietnam War. In fact, Frenchmen, by proxy, started the Vietnam War. They created communism. They created capitalism. They created Nazism. But they're not to blame for every problem. They're not, we can't rag on them. They didn't create every problem in the earth. They didn't create the pollution problem. They didn't create violent police brutality problems. They didn't create long-lasting racial tensions. None of this was created by white men. All right, we can't blame them. Give them a break. Cut them some slack. Cut them some cheese. You know, they didn't do everything wrong. I kid. We can't blame one group of people for every single problem on Earth. We can't do that. We can't pull up very deceiving statistics despite making up 13% of the population. We can't do that. That's very, very deceiving. And folks, I'm saying those are very deceiving statistics that are outdated. Provably outdated. Okay? I swear. You know, some guy with the username like Nordic Warrior 1444 or something like that. No, 1488. Nordic Warrior 1488. We can't blame that guy for anything. Come on. We can't blame neo-Nazis. We can't blame neoliberals. Whatever that even means, honestly. Whatever even we just throw. That's what we do in America. We just throw around words. We just throw around certain words. And we just use them over and over again. You know, what I feel like we need to do is we need to take it back now, y'all. Left stomp this time. Right stomp this time. Crisscross. We need to crisscross. We need to crisscross the political sides. We need to crisscross. We need to come together. We need to crisscross, and we need to cha-cha real smooth. Hands on our knees. Hands on your knees. Taking a kneel. Colin Kaepernick kneeling for America, for each other. We kneel for each other. Hands on our knees. Hands on our knees. Take it back now, y'all. Hold on. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, cha-cha real smooth. Speaking of taking it back now, y'all. Speaking of America. Speaking of a lot of things. I'm sure you saw this. This happened today. When I'm recording this, it happened today. Over the Black Sea, which if you don't know your geography, which I'm sure most of you don't, this is America. If you don't know your geography, the Black Sea is a body of water, a very large one, that is by Ukraine. Ukraine sits at the northern shore of it, and north of Ukraine is obviously Russia. And they're having a little war, right? Not piloting, sailing ships across the Black Sea, Navy ships, Navy wars. For some reason, I have absolutely no idea why this drone was flying over the Black Sea, but apparently America, we had a drone flying over the Black Sea, and a Russian, I can't remember if it was a plane or another drone, maybe it was another Russian drone, flew into the propeller of this drone, this American drone, and downed it. So we're out of a drone, $1 billion drone possibly, your tax dollars. You making $16 an hour, you making $30K a year, and they take like 20% if you're in a really bad state, and they take 20% of your income tax. That is in the Black Sea right now. So all your hard work, it was for nothing. But anyways, that's why we should all commit tax fraud. But anyways, yeah. So I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm accepting that World War III is going to happen. We probably will be, Gen Z will probably be forced into World War III. And do you honestly know how, because everybody's so suicidal in this generation, we're all going to be at target practice and we're going to blow our heads off. We're going to maybe be making TikToks, and in the background there's going to be other Gen Zers shooting themselves in the heads and blood just splattering everywhere. I mean, it's going to be, like Sam Smith is going to be playing at the body shop, and I blow my own head off. Like, that's what it's going to be like. And there's going to be people just dying left and right before we even get to the battlefield. I mean, back then, at least they would get to the battlefield before wanting to kill themselves. Back then, at least they would actually try and fight, and they would get mowed down by Viet Cong or something, or they'd get their legs blown off. But I feel like if we do get drafted for World War III, because they're already using that word, by the way. Biden is already using that word. Everybody's using that word. Putin's using that word. Biden is using that word. Zelensky's using that word. So we're all basically we're all in agreement that World War III will happen. They want it to happen, by the way. This feels all planned. This feels all set up. I feel like they intentionally crashed that drone just to get more people for the war effort. I feel like that like America wants, no, not even the world. The world wants another war. We're all so bored that we want to amuse ourselves once again, and we want to kill millions of people for sport, for our own entertainment. We make killing a sport. It's about making killing sport. All right? Everything is for sport. Everything is for fun. Everything is for enjoyment and entertainment. That's why we have entire YouTube channels dedicated to drone strikes. Again with the drone strikes. I think this is like the fourth episode in a row that we've mentioned drone strikes somehow. But anyways, yeah. So I'm sorry, by the way, I'm like losing my voice for some reason. But anyways, yeah. So we're 100%. I have come to terms that World War III will happen. Not joking. World War III will happen. We will be sent off to Ukraine or Russia or whatever. We will die in a snowstorm or die by a bullet storm. Either way, it's not going to be like an amazing ride, you know? We're going to go to a cold, depressing place. If you live in Minnesota, you're already in it, basically. You're in it. You're in what we're going to be fighting in. So we're going to be used to it. Whatever. It's going to be just like back at home. except there's gonna be people with blue eyes and blonde hair, and they're all gonna be talking really weird. You know, they're gonna be talking strange. I don't want to get back into language, you know, into different languages. You know what I mean? Привет. Привет. Opa. You're gonna see your buddy's head get shot off, and you're gonna say, Opa. Opa, you know? Yeah. I mean, the thing is, you know, I just wish we went back to the classics. Why isn't Germany getting involved? Why don't we just fight Germany again? We fought them the first two. We would switch it up for the third entry. I mean, come on, the sequel was pretty good. The sequel was huge. The sequel ended with a giant bang. World War II ended with a giant nuclear bomb going off. How could this end? The only other way this could end is the world ending. You know, like this. I don't know who said this quote. But it's this quote that goes like, World War III will be fought with nuclear weapons, and World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. Basically, they were saying is that like World War III is going to be such a giant, you know, like catastrophe. It's gonna be just one giant catastrophe that we'll just eventually World War IV will just be cavemen fighting. We'll rediscover fire, and it'll all just go in a circle. It'll be like Star Wars, you know, like Star Wars, like they imply that like that humans got sent off to like Earth, and then we evolved again or whatever. That's gonna be like us. We're just gonna start over. Who's to say that before we were cavemen, they were already advanced people and they blew themselves up, and now we were like the last ones to live. Who knows? And we got spliced with monkey DNA. You know what I mean? Some walking well, I mean, they're still here. Hillary Clinton, the Clintons themselves are walking reptilians, but walking dinosaurs, walking lizards, Joaquin Phoenix. Walking Phoenix. I'm a walking Phoenix. Speaking of Joaquin, isn't he in a new movie? He's in a new movie that I kind of am interested in to an extent, but he also gives me he's always given me like, I think I'm better than everybody else vibes, to be honest. He's so detached that one of his Oscars, his very, very recent Oscar speeches, he was talking about how everybody needs to become vegan. I'm pretty sure this is post-COVID, by the way. He's talking about how everybody needs to become vegan. And it's like, how detached, how in the upper echelon of Hollywood, how high do you have to be so detached that you think the most important thing to complain about is people being not vegan? Is people eating meat? Are you insane? Are you kidding me right now? It's not pollution. It's not famine. It's not poverty. It's not, it's not people not having shoes. People not having toilets. His main priority is people being vegan. Is people being non-meat eaters, not eating milk, not drinking milk. I'm sorry, not eating cheese, not eating fish. We all have to just eat plants. Because that's the biggest problem in the world, is that we eat meat. In fact, we need to stop these bears. We need to go in the woods and we need to stop bears. We need to actively stop predators from hunting prey. And we need to get them on a plant-based diet. Because if you gave them the choice to have a plant-based diet, they would choose the salad every time. I mean, this experiment has been done multiple times over and over. If you put a German Shepherd with two bowls in an empty room, and one of the bowls has meat, cubes of beef, delicious succulent meat, full of fat, full of calories, full of protein. And in the other bowl, you have a salad. You have spinach, lettuce, carrots. You have a whole lot of things. If you give that German Shepherd, you leave him alone. You give him no, you don't intrude at all. You just give him a choice. He's always gonna want the salad. He's gonna go he's gonna sniff the beef. He's gonna consider it, but then he will always walk over to the salad and he will eat those greens. He'll eat his greens. Eat your greens, because the greens is what's good for you. A1 Greens. We're not even sponsored. If you want to sponsor me, come on the podcast. We'll get them on. We'll sponsor A1 Greens. We'll say only drink A1 Greens and that's it. Don't take in anything else. No other nutrients that is needed. Malnourish yourself. If it requires you to malnourish yourself, to not eat meat, do it. Get an iron deficiency. Get a protein deficiency. Become a walking corpse, as long as that random cow in Idaho survives. That's all we have to worry about. As long as that chicken in Wyoming gets to walk another day, then the world will be at peace. The world will be at peace. Yeah, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's just insane how disconnected celebrities are. It's crazy. You know, some people will expect you to know celebrities. I didn't. My pants ripped. I didn't know who Sam Smith was until he released the Body Shop song, which people had a problem over, by the way. The music video that he dropped for Body Shop. Is that what it's even called? Something at the Body Shop. Something getting hot. And I'm gonna blow my head off. That's the dumbest. That's nothing. Don't even laugh at that. Okay. No, but they got mad because he's doing what everybody else in Hollywood is doing, which is the Satan thing. It's the devil thing. It's the Satan, all hell, praising and worshiping the devil. Everyone's getting mad. Everyone's getting up in arms, as they would say. Everyone's getting up in arms over the Satanist Sam Smith. He had a good arc. They, I don't even know, honestly. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I whatever. But he had like a good, he's had a good arc. He's had a good arc. You know, he's had the classic, you're fit, you're whatever, you're normal looking, you're average, I should say. And then you go through the body positivity pipeline. You gain weight, you get new earrings, you start acting a little bit more fruity, but not too much to throw the people off. Not Lil Nas X level, but not like Shawn Mendes, where you're hiding it. You know, that little middle point in the compass of gayness is where Sam Smith is at. And that's how you make it. That's how you stay relevant. You get body positive. You dance around. You dress up as Satan. You say it's okay. You get a bunch of drag queens in your video, and you also get cisgender people, because you're inclusive. Even when you're being ultra inclusive, you're still being inclusive. You understand? Even when you're being as inclusive as possible, you still need to be inclusive. You need to be inclusive on top of your inclusiveness. See, the only thing that he was missing was me. The only thing he was missing was me, an asexual, queer, neurodivergent POC. They, them, too. No, I'm just kidding. My pronouns aren't they, them. This is the dumbest. This is the worst episode. My stomach's hanging out. This is the worst episode I have ever done, and this is the worst episode yet. It only gets worse from here, folks. The quality only dips down. Do you understand? The quality only dips down from here. You know? And honestly, if you're here for it, I'm here for it. If you're here for it, I'm here for it. Yeah, but this is possibly the worst episode we have done. How long has it been, honestly? Okay, it's been 35 minutes, around that time for me at least. I mean, not including the intro. It's been around 35 minutes. So I'm thinking, let's get into the feel good. I want you to. It's feel good news. Feel good news is back. Feel good news. Put up big text right here saying feel good news. Feel good news with alarms going off and like a and like construction noises in the back. Feel okay. 3, 2, 1. Feel good news. Okay. So we're gonna make you feel good with I only have a few. I only have a couple of feel good news stories for you, but they're pretty good, and I'm gonna talk about them. So here we go. So the first one, I don't know exactly how this was feel good, but I'll let you decide. So here is what the headline says. It says, through non-invasive technology, scientists find hidden corridor in the Great Pyramid of Giza. So what this implies is that for the hundreds of years that we've been excavating these tombs and these pyramids, we've been using invasive technology, which explains a lot. It explains a lot. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna open up like a wooden box, and like an Egyptian like ghost, like a jinn is gonna come out, and it's gonna be full of like smoke, and it's just gonna go right into my mouth, and it's just gonna be within my soul. That's how like prevalent Egyptian curses are in America. Is like you'll go to like the Children's Science Museum, you'll go to the Egypt exhibit, and there'll be King Tut's I'm gonna say his full name, King Tutankhamun. We're gonna see his You're gonna see his casket, and it's just there's gonna be just like this eldritch, just like cloud of dark smoke coming out of it. That's how prevalent it is, and we won't even pay attention to it. We won't even mind it because we don't believe in it. But that's honestly, if anything bad happens to you, don't kill yourself. Blame it on the Egyptians, because that's really what's happening. Is if anything bad happens to you, it's an Egyptian curse. It's not your fault. Nothing's ever your fault. If something bad happens to you, 100% of the time, it is not your fault. It's an Egyptian curse. If you do something wrong or immoral, it wasn't your fault. Okay? When you were 9, you went to the Children's Science Museum of Minnesota, and you saw King Tutankhamun's. you saw King Tutankhamun's his coffin. You saw his little sarcophagus, like Kanye put the pussy in the sarcophagus. You saw his sarcophagus, and it entered. His spirit entered you, not in that way. Let's get that straight. He entered you in a way that was spiritual. Okay? This is not... I mean, you could blame it on that. Honestly, you could blame it on that too, though. If you want to go that route, you could blame everything that happens to you on that too. We could go that route too. We could go the trauma route. We could have... we could be like, I'm sorry I'm sorry that I took your puppy and put him in the oven and turned it on high when I was 9. I went to the... Can't believe I'm doing this bit. When I was 9, I went to the Children's Science Museum of Minnesota, and I got raped by King Tutankhamun. He came out the sarcophagus, mummy and all, grabbed me, and just started going up there, going in places where I didn't want the no-no zones, and he didn't understand me, of course, because he was an ancient Egyptian. But he was going to the no-no zones, you know? I mean, it's not out of character, because he did, this is real, by the way. He historically is known for being a product of incest and also indulging into incest. So that behavior isn't exactly surprising for me, at least. For people who are versed in history, in general history, who know useless facts because they're autistic, who know useless facts like me, that is not out of character for Mr. Tut, for Mr. Tutankhamun. But yeah, anyways, so we were finding more hidden corridors with non-invasive technology now. So now we're not releasing curses onto the world and causing us everlasting doom. We found a new hidden corridor in the Great Pyramid of Giza. So there's more to it. Maybe the corridors are there to keep something within it and not to keep us out. Maybe there's something in there that we don't want to let out. Have we ever thought of that? Have you ever thought that there's like a spirit wandering the pyramids and it's like lost forever? And if we do more invasive things, that maybe it'll find its way out? Have we ever considered that? That maybe there's something in there that we don't want to let out? I don't know, whatever. It's white people. White people don't care about curses. They don't care about anything. They just want to eat mummies. They just want to take them back to England and eat mummies. That's all, because it makes it live forever. That's what kept Queen Elizabeth alive for so long. But let's move on. Let's move on from the child molester mummies, and on to the next headline I have for your feel good news. To feel good, for your feel good news. Here we go. A stranger paid for a man's groceries after his card got declined. Now they are, and by the way, I didn't add this. The headline right here says, now they are, quote unquote, brothers. And that it's a white male and another male of urban descent. You know? So, I don't know why they called them brothers. I don't know why it's in quotations. I don't know what they're implying. Is it if it's racial or if it's of a sexual nature? I have no idea what they're implying with that. Brothers. I don't understand what they mean by that. That's some code that, like I said last podcast. Number one of being in a white household, code talking. Right here, perfect example. They're code talking. And it says here, this is a quote, a direct quote from the man who bought the other man groceries. It says, "I live by a motto. If I got it, you got it," said Kevin Jones, who stepped in to pay for Jason Boudreau's, it's a French name, Boudreau's groceries. So, what I'm hearing is that this was obviously they're implying that like the man who paid for the groceries is searching for a sugar baby. And this is the best way for a man to search for, if you're a gay male, if you're searching for a sugar baby, this is possibly the best way to go about it, is to bribe them off the bat. If I got it, you got it. That's the motto he lives by. The guy's a detective, by the way, a retired detective, so he's good at analyzing situations. He analyzed the situation. The man's credit card declined, and he was like going for the kill, because he was kind of stalking him throughout the store. I bet, they were going around. The guy who was buying stuff probably thought that he was like being followed by the store manager, because he probably thought that they thought that he was stealing. But regardless, this man 100% is seeking out a sugar baby, and he got it. There's a photo of them hugging and smiling at the camera. There's a little selfie. It's very cute, but also very predatory. This is a predator. This is a dangerous man. If you ever come across somebody like this, do not entertain it. If they offer to pay, they will. Nobody does anything out of the pure kindness of their heart. That doesn't exist in America. There's some gain that he wants, whether it's being on the news or having a sugar baby. Most likely the latter. I'm not gonna lie. This man definitely is taking him home, and he's like, hey, I paid for those groceries. If you got it, I got it. And if I got it, you got it. Same thing goes for AIDS. He probably does have AIDS, and he probably has HIV. And he's going to come up to him months later and be like, hey, If I got it, you got it. And that's how you tether people to you. But if you ever want to have somebody stay with you for forever, give them a deadly disease that you both have. Trauma bond. 100%. If you want somebody to stay with you, you have to trauma bond with them. Because trauma bonding is the healthiest way of bonding. Whether you're the instigator or you both got instigated against, or you're both terminally ill. If you want to keep somebody in your life, trauma bond with them, give them a deadly terminal illness or a deadly disease that will kill them, so you can both just die together. They can never leave you now. What, are they gonna die alone? No. They're gonna find somebody else? Absolutely not. Unless they're lying. Unless they're gonna want to trauma bond with somebody else. They could do that, I guess. But, even then, they're still gonna have to search around for more. They're gonna have, if they want to get down and dirty and groovy. But yeah, so these quote unquote brothers. I'm surprised I didn't call the other guy I'm surprised I didn't just call him brother. You know what I'm saying? I mean, both of them could say, that's the craziest thing about the South. This happened in Louisiana, by the way. This the craziest thing of the South is that you could say brother to somebody and they could be on the entirely different sides of the spectrum of racism. You could be saying, like, because there's brothers. If you're using the parliaments of the streets, I like saying that now. If you're using the parliaments of the streets, there's brothers. On the other side, there's brothers. Brother. Brother. And the fact that these two brothers came together to form one brother bond is truly what is the feel good news of the week. Is the feel good news headline of the week is what makes you feel good. I want you to feel good on this podcast. So that was a good simple feel good news segment. I think this should be the end of the feel good news segment, because one, I don't have any more, but two, I want to really flesh this out. I want to flesh the feel good news segment out, and by doing that, I think by sort of drip feeding this feel good news, I won't overwhelm you with feel goodness, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry. This is the worst episode. This is the worst episode by far. We're almost done with it. That's the thing. It's almost been an hour. It didn't even feel like the last quote I had, not the last quote, but like the second to last quote from somebody else. Not quote, statement or comment I had. It didn't even feel like an hour. This one didn't even feel like an hour. This one felt like nothing like an hour at all. That's the craziest part of this whole podcast, is that when you're recording this, it doesn't feel like an hour, but it is an hour. That's the thing. But regardless, plowing ahead as we do. What's after this? Jeez, I don't even. I mean, I'm gonna probably. I've been playing Sonic the Hedgehog because we all know what I am, but I've been playing Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic Adventure 2 to be specific. And what's really messed up? The messed up part about that game, we're gonna keep talking about race. We're gonna keep talking about race. One of the characters, his name is Knuckles. Unlike Sonic, he doesn't chuckle. And if you don't know, Knuckles is a echidna. And if you don't know what an echidna is, it's like a rat / like hedgehog looking thing. It's like a porcupine. They have big claws that they dig in the ground with. But Knuckles in the game is supposed to be like the token black character. He has dreads and everything. And what's really messed up is that every single level on Sonic Adventure 2 that you play as him, it's always like a guy rapping in the background. Every level, they made like every single level a rap song for Knuckles. And I'm not saying it's bad, because it isn't bad at all. It's fire. The Pumpkin Hill song. Oh man, the Pumpkin Hill song. Let me look up the lyrics to Pumpkin Hill. Hold on. Pumpkin Hill. Let's look up the lyrics to We're back on the lyrics, man. Back on the lyrics, like we did last podcast. By the way, the guy who raps for, I don't know why I'm going off on this. If you don't even know what Sonic the Hedgehog is, you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. But there's an intro for Pumpkin Hill. By the way, Pumpkin Hill is like a level in the game. Oh, I have to explain this. Okay, you play as Knuckles, right? And in the Knuckles levels, you have to. Oh my God, this is the most autistic thing I've ever done in my life. Okay. In the Knuckles levels, you have to find like there's shreds of the Master Emerald, because I could go in the lore of Sonic the Hedgehog forever. You have to find these shreds of the Master Emerald, because in the beginning, Dr. Eggman breaks the Master Emerald into a bunch of pieces. So you have to find all the shards of the Master Emerald every single level. So as the level starts, Pumpkin Hill, by the way, is like a Halloween themed level, so it's like kind of spooky and creepy and woo, you know. So you're in the level. It starts off banging instrumental. I mean, it's insane. I didn't know there was an intro. But here is how the intro goes. You know me, the fighting freak Knuckles, and we're at Pumpkin Hill. You ready? Here's the hook. I ain't gonna let it get to me. I'm just gonna creep. Down on Pumpkin Hill, I gots to find my lost piece. I know that it's here. I can sense it in my feet. The great Emerald's power allows me to feel. I can't see a thing, but it's around somewhere. I'm gonna hold my head, cause I have no fear. This probably seems crazy. A graveyard theory. A ghost tried to approach me and got leery. So those are the type of lyrics that you're the lyrical genius that you're expecting in Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Adventure 2. And what I was going to say, the little fact, the guy who raps that is the same guy who raps for, never mind. Actually, I'm wrong. Sonic Adventure 1. Knuckles only has one rap song, and it's his like little main theme song. The guy who raps that is the same rapper for Parappa the Rapper, which if you don't know who Parappa the Rapper is a little dog that raps for PlayStation. Look it up. I'm not going to look it up for you, buddy. But anyways, I don't even know why I went on this tangent. I think because I just said I was playing Sonic Adventure 2. Yeah. That's how you know I have nothing to talk about in this podcast. I'm just trying to talk about, like, Sonic the Hedgehog lore. Once you get to Sonic the Hedgehog lore, it's over for you. The podcast is done. At this point, what else do I have to talk about? Even in the next episode, what do I have to talk about? I have no idea. We'll have some feel-good news. We'll have some feel-good vibes. We'll have some feel-good times. We'll have some feel-good everything. Because we're feeling good. This is the Feel Good podcast. This isn't Bedtime with Major. This is the Feel Good with Major podcast. This is the Feel Good podcast. You know what would make you feel really good is going to sleep in your bed, covered up in a bunch of blankies with some milk and what's like a nightly snack. What's like a nighttime snack? I don't know. You don't really eat anything for nighttime, don't you? You sort of just drink your hot cocoa. You drink your milk. You drink your water. You get a little glass of water. Midnight snack. Get a midnight snack. Get a midnight candy bar. Midnight snack. Midnight toast. Midnight peanut butter and jelly. Sleepwalk your way into some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I personally have been covered up in this blanket this entire podcast. First time I think I've ever done that, by the way. Usually I take it off of my body. This time I don't because I'm basically naked. No, I'm just kidding. I just have a tank top on. But, yeah. Bedtime with Major podcast. I don't even know how long it's been. Okay, yeah, we're basically closing in on the end of the podcast. Okay, it's almost the end. But Bedtime with Major, I hope you had your goofs and your gaffs and some laughs this podcast episode. This podcast episode felt like trash. Personally, I don't know though. It might come out great. It might be the best one yet. Who knows? We had a laundry segment, Never Again. That was the most unhinged moment of this podcast, was me going out in the public. Probably gonna have many of those. Many of those. Many of those. And you're gonna be a big fan of those. Losing my voice for some reason today. I don't know why. I didn't lose it until now. I think I just have a dry mouth. I don't think I drank enough water. I forget. I'm been forgetting to drink water and eat, dude. Did. Anyways, no, but I hope you had a good podcast listen. I hope everything is going great. Everything's going great. It's going great. I hope everything's going splendid, even. And I hope you're counting sheep. I hope you're gonna fall asleep. I hope you. I just hope. I just hope. I just hope. Yeah. Bedtime with Major. Let's get this shmoney. And make sure, if you want, you can open up your little laptop or your phone, and you can leave a little comment or a question or a statement, or you can just say whatever you want in the little box, in the little Q&A box. Only on Spotify. You can leave a comment on YouTube. Will not read it. I will not read it at all. So don't even bother. But you can if you want. I will not read it. And I guess the last thing I have to say before I skedaddle out of this podcast is I hope I make it out. Whatever I'm in, I hope I make it out. Whatever they thought I was in, I hope I make it out. My content is great. They're right. My content is great. I hope I make it out. You know? But I digress. Bedtime with Major. Betty Bo bye time. Have a good rest. A good slumber. And let me just pull. Let's get closer to me. Yeah, there we go. Hey, hi. Hi. We are getting it going. 4th episode. Good slumber, good sleep, good soup. Bedtime soup. We got bedtime soup. You got bedtime tea. I'm trying to just run out the clock. I'm not even lying, man. I'm just trying to run out the clock. But yeah. I just hope you have a splendid time listening to me talk you to sleep, not into delusions, talking you to sleep. I hope you just had a swell time. And yeah, I hope I make it out. I hope you make it out, whatever your situation you're in. If you're in the basement, I hope you make it out of the basement. Sorry, kid. Sorry. But stay away from King Tut. He will touch you and your kids. Yeah. This has gone on for long enough. All I want to say is good night.